Ladies and gentlemen, it's November. Time to make a Christmas project. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. No, absolutely not. I refuse to jingle any bells. I am one sniff of cinnamon away from a meltdown. But Christmas, cozy vibes, hot chocolate and gingerbread, crafting something for Christmas and singing Christmas songs. Jingle bells, jingle bells. I hate gingerbread. I hate cinnamon and I hate crafting. And don't tell me anything about crafting a Christmas journal. I hate journals. But we have to make something festive for HEINZL TV. Do I look like someone who gently sprinkles sugar on cookies? I sprinkle chaos. And I sprinkle texture paste. I sprinkle nope. You are being very, very unelfy. I'm not here to elf. I am here to Grinch. Oh, okay. So, no cute Christmas journal then? Cute? Cute? We are making messy CATMAS this holiday season. We are smashing things. We are making weird noises. And we are distressing everything. If it looks neat, we redo it. And if it behaves, we punish it. No Christmas songs? Christmas songs are overrated. And joy. Joy is optional. But Christmas is supposed to be magical. Oh, it will be magical. That kind of magic where you don't know if you are crafting or summoning something. Grinch vibes? You finally got it. Let's Grinch it.
Paper, glue, and scissors at hand, but nothing ever goes as planned. I spilled coffee on my vintage lace. Oxide spray got into my face. Cat knocked over my washi tower. I've been crafting for 12 straight hours. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Tearing paper, making a mess. Creative chaos, I confess. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Inky fingers, venomous dance. Pages filled with happenstance. Guess I want my favorite jeans. Embrace an imperfection by any means. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Is this just the ugly stage or am I happy with it? I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Tearing paper, making a mess. Creative chaos, I confess. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Inky fingers, a venomous dance. Pages filled with happenstance. Dear diary, today I accidentally glued my journal shut, mistook my copy for plain water. Sneezed while using glitter, now I'm a disco ball. And realized I've been spelling different, remember wrong for years. Stamps and stencils everywhere. Glitter in my dance. Pages filled with happenstance. We wanna freak out freaks right now. Junk gentlemen, let's take a bow. Tearing paper, making a mess. Creative chaos we profess. We wanna freak out freaks right now. Junk gentlemen, let's holy cow. Inky fingers, ephemeris dance. Pages filled with happenstance. All right. I regret nothing, except maybe the glitter.
Hello, hello, HEINZL crew. Yay! That's you. This is Luise, and welcome to the MESSY CATMAS HEINZL TV paper premiere. I'm so excited to finally share my new project with you, MESSY CATMAS. In this paper premiere, you will get a full flip through of my finished journal, well, nearly finished journal, so you can see what this creative adventure is all about. And perhaps you've already noticed it, it's a HEINZL TV paper premiere. That means it's a bit different from what you know from the past, but I promise it's going to be a lot of creative fun for everyone. So what is a paper premiere? In a paper premiere, I introduce you to my brand new paper collection and I show you a journal made with it. And that way, you can see what you could create with it too, instead of just seeing the loose papers on my desk. And the special thing about a premiere video on YouTube is that we have a chat running next to the video where you can chat with like-minded people and of course with me. So please feel free to ask questions if there's anything you want to know. This video is pre-recorded. That means the video itself is not live, but the chat is live. So please, if you haven't found it yet, search around the screen, depending on the device you are watching with. Was that English? I don't know. The chat is either on the right or on the bottom of the screen. And please make sure, I say it again. I have said that in the last paper premiere already, but I will say it again now. Please make sure that you are in the right place when it comes to chatting with the other people. How to know that you are in the right place? Please look if the messages are moving. If the messages don't move, you are not in the right place. We had some problems in the past that people wrote a comment below the video and then they were asking themselves, why the heck is Luise not answering and why are here no other people answering? Yeah, that was because they accidentally wrote a comment below the video instead of being in the chat and chatting with the other people. So somewhere, as I said, depending on the device you are watching from, the chat is either here or there and it says live chat. And if you click that, there pops up a window, a little thing, you know, next to the video or, yeah, depending, sometimes also under the video, where you can chat with the other people. And I would like to encourage you to do that because, you know, we are here to inspire each other and I would love to read your opinion, your questions and everything about this new journal. So that means, just in case you have never seen something like a premiere video on YouTube, that means this video is pre-recorded. So if you have a question, I will answer the question in the chat by typing it into the little chat box. So if you, when you see this, you know that I'm sitting in front of my computer right now as well, reading your comments, and then I will type my answer into the little chat box. So that means you will not hear me speaking the answer because the video itself is not live, but the chat is live, okay? So please, if you had a question, read, and when you see my name there, then you will probably also see the answer to your question. I'm really happy that you all are here today, and I want to thank you for spending your time with me. This is a very special thing. I feel a little bit like a broken record, but I think you feel that the same. Every single journal is a special one, isn't it? So thank you very much for being here today with me while I'm flipping through this journal, and I will later on also go into more detail and show you more of the single pieces which are hidden in this journal. Some of you have asked me, and that is something I quickly want to mention. After the last paper premiere, there have been some questions about these little stickers that sometimes popped up in the chat. And you have asked me about those. So those were some donations from some of you wonderful people. Thank you very much again for that. That is really much appreciated. And you wanted to know how you can donate, because some of you have seen that and you said, oh, I want to do that as well, or at least I want to know how that is done. So let me quickly explain that. Of course, that's totally up to you. Yeah, please don't feel any obligation to do that. But I quickly wanted to explain how it works for those of you who have asked about it. So next to the chat box, there where the live chat is, there's a little dollar note symbol. And when you click on this little dollar note symbol, the different options for a donation pop up. You can choose whatever you like and then just send it. It will then walk you through the single steps for the payment, and then you can just send it. So thank you very, very much for your support, and also for asking about that and how that works. That is very much appreciated. But please don't feel obligated to do that. Yeah, I just said that for the people who wrote some messages and emails and so on and asked about that. So what's the difference about this HEINZL TV paper premiere compared to the others we had already here on my channel? A HEINZL TV paper premiere has some special extras for you. So that means some content is available on HEINZL TV and some here on my YouTube channel. For the MESSY CATMAS paper collection, I have a so-called backstage pass, which you can see here on HEINZL TV for you, which is a step-by-step junk journal series. With this backstage pass, you can get access to a ton of HEINZL TV episodes, and you will learn how to create such a journal from scratch with your own materials and your own ideas. I will go into detail about that in a second, okay? And while we flip through my journal, I will tell you a bit about the idea behind it, because this journal didn't just come out of nowhere. That's for all of my journals, I would think. It all started with one little sentence that somehow stuck in my head. And the sentence is, I'd be Grinch, but sure. Little emoji. That line was all it took to spark an idea, and from there everything started to unfold. And this is how it happened. And that was something so funny, so cute, and at the same time for myself so motivating that I couldn't resist to ask for permission to talk about this and tell you this story. I was chatting with my dear friend Daniel Evans on Instagram, and we talked about some things private. We'll not talk about that here, obviously. And then we were like, yeah, here, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I need to make some Christmas cards. And the package from Stampers Anonymous just arrived, and I was in front of a really, really huge card making process. And I told him about that, and I have sent him a photo of my desk where all of the stamp sets were laying at that point. And then he said it's way too early for making Christmas cards. And we also joked a little bit about singing Christmas songs before December 1st. And he said, I refused to do anything Christmas before December 1st. And then I wrote a message, which I have put here into my journal, and that's then how it all started. So I wrote, does that mean you won't come over to help me making those projects? Sad emoji, sad emoji, sad emoji. And then he wrote, I'd be Grinch, but sure. And that was the moment. And I wish I had recorded myself in that moment, because it's just impossible to bring that into words. And I'm telling you that because I'm hoping that you can experience something like that in your own life with your own junk journals and with paper crafting in general as well. Suddenly my brain was like, there was a little button in my brain which switched, and I was like, oh my goodness, I want to Grinch everything up. Suddenly, the Stampers Anonymous the Stampers Anonymous stamps were in front of my eyes, all green, everything with fluff. Suddenly, the design of the cover of this journal appeared in front of my eyes. It was like nearly like I could grab the things and, you know, that I could literally touch the journal. It was so concrete, this pattern, the spine, everything I did here, the colors, even a little bit of this. This was not so very concrete, but the colors here, this label here, and especially all of this fluff, it was just like I could touch it. So I nearly dropped my phone. I went off from Instagram. The conversation was there at its end. I went into my craft room relatively fast. And if you know me, you know that I'm a really slow person. Usually, you know, I don't like running and that stuff. But I ran into my craft room, and then within approximately 45 minutes or so, these pages you can see here in the journal came to life. What is this? This is an ideology file folder thingy, you know, made from mixed media heavy stock. To be honest, this is not the cheapest paper. And I was really, really surprised about myself. And I'm really hoping that you can experience something like that as well with your own things. I was so surprised because within a few minutes, I made several of these pages here. This was the last one I made. And it started with spraying green things on these file folders. So everything here, like the trees and this stamping and this, that was not there yet. But it started, yeah, basically with something like this, with a really, like, you know, normal background you can make with spray stain. And this motivation I had in that moment, and this clear picture of this journal, which I had in front of my eyes, that was so crazily motivating for me that it went from this to something stenciled, to something where I thought, why am I able to use these materials in such a fast way? Because normally, when I have these materials, you know, I have spent my money for these. Or wait, to be very honest, I think this here is still left from one of the ideology makes for Tim, so I got this from Tim. But, you know, usually if I buy my stuff and if it's ideology or so, then I'm a little bit like picky. Do you know what I mean? And I think, oh, do I want this here or do I want something else there? And I think about that. I nearly make a script for, you know, for the things I want to do there. But creating something in such a fast way and taking the next page before this was even dry, that was so unusual for me, and it was such a crazy moment in my life. I think I will never forget that. And from that, and from these papers, the whole journal was born. And that was something where I thought, that is just so crazy, because this little idea sparked the whole rest. So then I thought, what if we let this slightly grumpy, playful and messy energy inspire us to create a whole journal series? because the journal was already, somehow there, even if it was not physically existing at that point. I only had these green pages. I didn't even have the paper collection at that point when we talked about that. I'm not a machine. Yeah, I can't make these papers and the paper collection within that short time, because it was everything on that same day within a few hours. What happened there? And yeah, then I thought, let's make a whole journal series about this, and let's answer some of your questions also about journal making process, about how to start a journal, how to make a journal from scratch, and all of that. So then that is what happened, and that is how Messy Catmas was born. So let's now talk about what you can get, okay? So here are your options. If you want to join the entire fun of making this journal, then please choose the Messy Catmas Backstage Pass, which is available on the HEINZL TV Termini. That's the page where all creative adventures begin. So if you want to have everything, choose this. With this Backstage Pass, you will get the complete video series, which is 14 episodes with a total length of 37 hours. I nearly have problems to say that. It's 14 episodes with a total length of 37 hours. We will create this entire journal from scratch, step by step. You will also get the Messy Catmas Digital Junk Journal Kit, which includes all of the printable papers and ephemera you see in the journal here. That means the full pages you can see here. And also all of the ephemera pieces like pockets, tuck spots, everything you will need. There are also a lot of extra freebies included in the Backstage Pass, like for example this here and many more. And there are also bonus videos available. So then it's, the 14 videos I just mentioned, plus the bonus videos that take you even further inside this journal. Then you will also get access to a very detailed studio page on HEINZL TV with further information, detailed photos for each of the episodes, product links and matching videos from the past I've curated there for you. And yes, even the soundtrack you've heard in the beginning of the video, which is called I Wanna Freak My Freak Right Now, is included in the Backstage Pass. If you're not interested in the Backstage Pass, you can get the Messy Catmas Junk Journal Kit, so meaning the pages and the ephemera, separately in my shop. That item also includes not only the digital papers and the ephemera you see in the journal, but also the soundtrack. And the bonus videos I've talked about are available for everyone. So they will be uploaded to my YouTube channel, to the public area of my YouTube channel during the next weeks. So that means you can also join by just watching those and create along even without the paper collection, but using your own stuff. Yeah, that's also of course possible. And I want to try to also include ideas which you can do even if you have nothing or don't want to have anything from this video or what I have here for you, because I want that everyone can join. So the Messy Catmas Backstage Pass is a junk journal class. I need this. I need to take this back. It's a junk journal class where you can learn how to make this journal from scratch, but with your own materials. It's a bit different from what you might know from somewhere else, but let's go into detail about that, okay? This Backstage Pass, this junk journal class, is not a typical tutorial series. So please listen carefully, okay? If you are just looking for quick instructions on how to glue two pieces of paper together without wondering why, then this probably isn't for you. With the MESSY CATMAS Backstage Pass, we go a little deeper. We explore, we experiment, and think about the why behind every creative choice, because that is exactly what you have asked me to do, and that is what I want to give you, because, you know, your wish is my command. We will try out messy techniques, but not only those, also some not so messy ones. We will play, we will laugh, and we will definitely Grinch everything up. That's so fluffy. And the idea behind this is to develop the whole process together. Even though I've structured the Backstage Pass, yes, I have a plan to give you a clear path. We will discover the details step by step. And that is just like I do it in my own creative process without the camera. That is exactly my way of creating a journal. And that is what I wanted to have for this class, because, you know, you have asked for that. So I wanted to try to give you that. And that's why we are going to discover everything together. And also the next steps we want to do, we will discover that together and also discuss why we do what we will do. So for me, it always starts with this one spark. There's one idea, like, for example, such a sentence. And from there, everything evolves somehow naturally. And that is what I would like to try to bring to you. And if you've ever asked yourself, how do I even start making a junk journal? Then this is probably the right thing for you. I think that is a very, very, very massive question in our community. There are many people who ask that question, and that is also why I wanted to have my answer to that question in this first Backstage Pass on HEINZL TV. I would like to show you one of my absolute favorite methods to start a new journal, and that is making a mood board. That's where we will set like the tone for the entire journal, gather inspiration, and build the visual story before the first page is even sewn in. And that is what I would like to show you in the first official episode of the Backstage Pass. And we go through that step by step so that you have the possibility to follow along with your own materials, with your own ideas, with your own colors and everything. That is also a very important thing to me, that you understand that you don't necessarily have to work with green. As you can see, I have included a ton of green because my idea was to Grinch everything up, and the Grinch is green. Yeah, so that is also why he is here in the front of my journal. And I've decided that I want to go with a whole lot of green, but you could also go with other colors. You can see I've also included some red, some orange, but you can go with whatever color you would like, which you think could match to this. That is important to me, that you understand that if you don't like green, because, you know, there are many people who don't like green. I can't understand that, but those people exist. I'm just kidding. So here you can see how our mood board looked. I have included this here as a little card in my journal so that I later on also have a little memory of how everything started. And if you want to know how to make something like this for yourself and why we do that, and, you know, which features a mood board can give you, then you will learn that in this junk journal class. I have also one basic technique in this journal, even if there are many techniques included, but this one technique I would call like the basic technique of the thing, and that is a technique I developed while I was making these pages I've shown you, where is this page now? So I would say we would probably need to call it the Evans technique or so, because I found out that I can do this on the day when I had this conversation with Daniel. That is something relatively aggressive. It is something where you at first glance think it makes absolutely no sense to do it exactly like that. But sometimes those are the techniques which are the most fun and which can give you the most surprising results, aren't they? And with that technique, also these tags here were born. These are not in the journal yet. That has reasons, but that would be too detailed to explain that here. I've talked about that in the episodes. But that also doesn't matter. They are just not in the journal yet for some reasons. But you can see all of this cringy, grungy texture here. It also looks a little bit like broken glass here. But the main idea behind this is to work with a resist technique and then reveal something which you, to be honest, beforehand couldn't see coming. And when you then reveal it, you have a really surprising and uncontrollable result. But I find this absolutely fascinating, and I'm so happy that I could find this out. If you now think, oh, it looks like she has used some fancy mediums, and I don't have fancy mediums, and she said this is a basic technique for this journal, you can hopefully see that the technique is not everywhere. So if you don't have the materials and mediums I've used here, please don't panic. You can still join making this journal. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you can't make a journal if you can't do one technique because you don't have the things we've used here. Yeah, that is a really important thing to me, that you understand that you can also join even if you don't have the same things like I do in my videos. And I try to make it really versatile. You could even say I don't have any mediums at all. I perhaps have some acrylic paint or so, some basic things. I mean, you can't craft with air, yeah? But that should be clear, that you can't craft with nothing. You need something. Yeah? You would need a printer if you would like to have the paper collection, but that should be a clear thing. You know that you need that. But you can also craft along even if you don't have a whole shelf with Ranger mediums. By the way, this journal here is number 123, and I've included the number here, and this is also something you can get as a freebie. Here it also says Messy Catmas, the name of the paper collection. I also tried some, for me, relatively unusual things, like this here, for example. I tried to make some frames around my cards. And, you know, I said I wanted to Grinch it up. So I thought, what could that mean? That is probably then all of that stuff we usually won't do. Something which is a little bit aggressive, perhaps. Something where we need a grumpy face. We also make some exercises during the series, how to make a grumpy face, and how to also include some grumpy noises so that we get into the right mood to do something like this. And I think I also found some cool techniques with some everyday materials. To be honest, in this series there happened some things also, for example, with these flowers, which are also part of the Backstage Pass. We have one episode where we make these flowers here. And in some of the videos, there happened some things which I then tried to include in the considerations for the next steps. And that was really, really cool that happened, because I think these things, this here, for example, is a paper towel. These things are all things which would also happen here in my craft room without the camera. And for me, that is something very important, because from a small thing, there can come something bigger. And even from a fail, there can come something which is then later a success. You don't want to know how many bad words I have, thrown into the room behind the camera when I have sewn this year on. It was a little bit tricky because you can see this is, a little bit crazy. But it was so worth it. And there have been many things where I thought, wait, what the heck has happened here? Why did that happen? And then I found the reason, because it happened because we want that we can develop new things. And from something which happened, that can be even a fail or something, there can come something really cool, a new technique, something new, something which you haven't expected when you started making this. I also included some daily life materials, like for example the tissue paper. Did I say tissue paper? Did I say tissue paper when the flower was there? I meant paper towel, not tissue paper. Did I say tissue paper? Paper towels, bubble wrapping. And I also found something out with bubble wrapping, which was nearly unbelievable for me. We also have one page here, which is made from bubble wrapping. If this is not cat, then I don't know what it is. And look, this here, for example, can you see it? That was so crazily surprising. I can't wait to share that with you in the videos. It's just so crazy. And I think a main point of this is to see those opportunities some things can give you. Also with the cover, which we make in the very end of this whole series, there happened some things where I, to be honest, thought I will in a second up the wall, behind the camera. I left some of that in the footage, but I don't want that you learn the really bad German words from me. You can learn some German from me, but not the really bad words. So, I have edited some of that out. But there have been some things where I thought, why the heck does that happen? But especially for the cover, that gave me the opportunity to create something like this here, which was not really in my head before I started this. And you can see this cover looks really, really grunged up. Gringed? Is it already gringed up? I think the cover is more grungy than gringy. What do you think? But this texture here, I only got from solving problems I didn't know that I would get them. There happened something, and then I was so frustrated and I was so disappointed, to be honest, also about myself, how it went. And, I wanted to show you the construction and why we do this, why we have here these slots, why it is important to let here enough space so that we can open and close the journal without that it makes weird noises and so on. And then this thing happened and I was like, what the heck? And then I ended up with this, which I would think is nearly like a new technique for me, because finding this solution also gave me this effect here. And I thought, yeah, wait, if I want to have this effect later, then now I know how to do it. And without that fail, that couldn't have happened. And that is something really like a massive, somehow red thread, which goes through this whole series, where we really intensely look at those situations where something like that happens, and then we look how we can come to a good solution, how we can come even to a new technique, what we could use. We will also talk about the things which we can use, we already have, because, you know, I don't want that you run into a craft room because please run into your craft room, not your craft room. I don't want that you run into a craft store because you feel the need of buying fancy things and everything I have here. That is really important to me, that you understand that you can use what you have. And if you don't have this specific stencil, then use something else. If you don't have a stencil at all, take some bubble wrapping. If you, for example, think, oh, I don't have this fluffy stuff, or I don't even like this fluffy stuff, and having this all around the pages here, take something else. No one says that you need to do this exactly like it is here. But if you want to make your cat a little bit fluffy, and if you want to pet the cats, then consider something like this. This here was even made from a broken necklace. Yeah, so you could also include some things from the trash can, or things which would go into the trash can. You can see here some material from my trash can. This here was, as I said, a broken necklace, and yeah, what to do with something like that. Perhaps you also know those people who bring these things to you, and then you have them in your craft room and they are there for forever. Those are the pieces we want to take out now for making such a journal. I also have some ideas for you on how you could customize your digital papers. Like, for example, the thing with the eyes I did here. Oopsala, I'm sorry. This here is a die cut. The glasses are a die cut. I'm so sorry. Can I please hold this in an angle so that you can see that it's shiny? And I've glued that on there, and then I have added some glossy accents, and we will also make some experiments with glossy accents. I found some really cool things out. Perhaps you have already seen these kind of eyes in some of my other journals. Can you see that the eyes are really glossy and really dimensional, and these cats even have eyelashes. Here it's a little bit camouflaged because, you know, it's like a little bit invisible, but you can touch that. But this is on purpose invisible so that you can feel it, but it's not so bam. Let me show you another example. Here, for example, they are way more visible. And I found some really interesting things out with glossy accents, but it's not necessary that you have glossy accents. Alternatively, you could also use some transparent, clear embossing powder, or whatever you might have. Doesn't necessarily have to be glossy accents. Yeah, and even if you think, oh, I don't even have clear embossing powder, yeah, then just leave the eyes like they are. No one says that you have to do this. Yeah, I'm just trying to make some examples so that you can understand what you would need for the series. Yeah, so that you can understand that. But if you already follow me, what happened here? If you, oh no, I've accidentally, can you see that? I've accidentally sewn this thing here in with the signatures, and I'm assuming, yeah, this thread is now glued to the spine. Is that a problem? No. If I would have told you that I have done that on purpose, you would have believed it. I think, look, this has exactly the correct length so that it looks like it was done on purpose. Oh my goodness. If I now would have told you, you could then put this in here. But it's attached here, and if you take it out, we have this special effect. Would you, I mean... you would probably have noticed that I came up with that in that second because of this accident. But that is also something. I mean, this is exactly, I've just seen that. I haven't seen that before, obviously not. This is also something, you know, when something like this happens, make the best out of that, yeah, and look what you can do with such an accident, like for example with the cover or something like this. Do this on purpose the next time and look what you can do with something like this when something like that there happens. We also have some feathers here in the journal. Can you see the feather? And yes, the cat is stamped on the feather. That was also something where I thought I will lose my mind in a second, but I needed to try that out, and you will see that in the series, how I did that. And I also talk about why I did that together with you. And there you can see step by step how this developed from, you know, originally something which was coincidence / also a fail, because it started with this here where I accidentally stamped to the feather here. I have sewn the feather on here, and then I've stamped over this with this little you know, stitching stamp, and accidentally some of the stamp impression came to the feather, and from here, you know, this idea came to life. And then I tried that out and followed my thoughts like live on camera, and perhaps that is something which could be interesting for you if you're interested in developing new things. Many of you say or write under the under the videos in the comments, I'm sorry, that you are a little bit like fascinated about how my brain works. And I really tried to include those things in the series so that you perhaps can get a little, you know, how do you say that, little insight or so about that, and how I do things when things happen. Because the thing with the feather, what is that? When something like that happens, you somehow need to get this ability to see that and then somehow think further. And yes, that requires a little bit that you know your mediums a little bit. But here, to be honest, I was in the whole like really extreme experimental mode. I didn't even think about how would mediums react. Yeah, well, perhaps that is a lie. Perhaps a little bit, but not so extremely extreme. And with that, I could get this. And I think I will never understand why these splatters landed exactly on her eyes. You see that? Also a little accident. But it's part of the charm of this journal, isn't it? Yeah, so that were a few details about these things here. And perhaps if you think, I'm still not so sure if this is something for me, or if I want to get the backstage pass, please take a closer look at this. You can, I think, on most of the pages, relatively clearly see what I have used. For example, some stencils here. This is washi tape. You could also, if you don't have washi tape, take some collage paper. If you have some, some stamps. As I said, the thing with the glossy accents, if you have glossy accents, then that's totally fine. If you don't have that, then, you know, this looks also nice, doesn't it? Oh, also the thing with the sewing machine. Can you see? This is sewn and stamped. I have used this stamp set with the stitches to show you that you don't necessarily need a sewing machine. And also the other things, these pieces here, they are sewn on, but you could also glue them on. We also talk about that. Yeah, we go step by step through everything. And if I used my sewing machine, I also explained alternatives if you don't have a sewing machine. This time the cover is also just glued and not sewn. I also talk about that, why, and you know, that is mainly because that accident happened and I have this crazy texture on the cover. But you don't necessarily need a sewing machine for this. Also here you can see there's some fabric included here. Yeah, you could also, and I have also sewn these pages, you know, with the sewing machine, this fabric to this, but you don't need a sewing machine. You can also glue this with tape or liquid glue. And yeah, what I was trying to say is perhaps you want to later on watch the video again and then pause, you know, and look at the pages, and then you can also automatically see what you could take out, what you would need, and where you could think, okay, I don't have this fluff, but I have other fluff. I hate fluff, I don't need fluff then, yeah? Or perhaps you want to take out some packaging material. This here, for example, is from a packaging I had. You can also include things from your trash can, like packaging, corrugated cardboard. Like, you know, if you have some gel prints or so, take them out. Or have nice people who send them to you, because this I haven't made by myself. Paper towels, some breads. If you have texture paste, totally fine. That would be helpful, as I said, for some of the techniques, like for example with these tags, but it's not necessary. You can see here there's some texture paste on the page, but imagine the texture paste wasn't there. The page would look nice as well. And you could also say, okay, I stamp instead of using the texture paste. I use some daily life materials like bubble wrapping or so, because I don't have texture paste, and then just stamp. Yeah, your journal will turn out exactly like you want it, and you know, it will be a nice journal even if you don't have fancy things. Feathers are here. There are some die cuts if you want to include those. Here are relatively, you know, only a few die cuts included. I think there will come more with the bonus videos, which I will then publish within the next few weeks, because, you know, I love die cuts and I want to have die cuts in my journal, but until now there are not so many included yet. But those are the things you could consider using. But for me, the essence of this whole thing is more that you learn to go your own way, and that you don't think that you have to that you don't think that you have to follow a tutorial step by step blindly. The sense of this whole thing is to get you to this point that you find your own way. That sounds a little bit arrogant, because I mean, who am I? Yeah, but I want to try to bring you there, because I'm convinced that every single one of you can come to that point where you then think, okay, when I have this, it's completely logical what I need to do next. Or I see a fail, and then suddenly I see the chance to make something out of that fail. I'm convinced everyone can do that. And that's, for me, also more important than the design of the journal itself. The things which are behind this are, for me, way more important than the thing itself. For example, here you can see another try with the cat and the feather. Yes, this is a feather. And yes, this is stamped. This is a stamp by Stampers Anonymous. And here's the feather. Why is that so hard to see in the camera? I have no idea, but please believe me, it's a feather. Ooh! I also found a really, really, really cool way, and I have absolutely no idea why that didn't happen before, on how you could customize your ephemera pieces from the digital paper pack. I did something with the tags. You know, with these, there was this one tag which got attached to the spine accidentally. Do I have one here by coincidence? These small tags where you said you want to have them. I have often asked you about the shape of those tags, and you said, yeah, we want to have them, but they are so difficult to cut out, because they have, where is this now? Here, for example, is one of those. There's in nearly all of my digital paper collections a sheet with a ton of these tags. And as you can see with this shape here, they are relatively hard to cut out. And I found a way how we can use that sheet in a completely different way, and how we can make other things from these, you know, in the easiest imaginable way. And also, if we act more clever than I did in the video, because that was a spontaneous idea. If we act more clever than I did it in the video, we can even make a ton more pieces from one and the same sheet. Little teaser. That was a really cool experience, because I wasn't expecting that, and I'm as I said before, I was really happy that those things happened while I was recording that, and that I could really manage to get my real process on camera, because you know, every journal is different, and with every process different things happen, and I was really like a little bit like under pressure, because you can't force those things. You can't say, oh, I will sit down, you know, producing a fail on camera and develop a technique from that, so that the people out there can understand what I'm doing here in normal life without the camera. That's not possible. If those things happen, then they happen by those coincidences which aren't coincidences, because coincidences are not existing. But you can't force the universe to give you these things, yeah, when you are recording. That is just not possible. And I'm really happy that those things happened and that I could get them on camera, so that I can share them with you within this series. So then I'm hoping that have been a lot of examples which could give you a little like picture of what we are going to do in the series. If there are any questions, I'm assuming you have also already put them into the chat now. I can't see that obviously, because I'm not a fortune teller. I can only tell you what I'm having in my mind here right now. But I'm assuming if there have been questions, you've already thrown them into the chat. If you watch this paper premiere on replay, then please feel free to leave a comment, because you know, when you watch this later, then the chat is obviously not active anymore, but you can still write a comment, and you can of course also always email me if there are any questions about the Backstage Pass, the paper collection, or whatever I have talked about here. So then I want to use the next few minutes to talk about a topic which is really important to me, and where I want to give you some thoughts about that. And that has to do with the soundtrack. I want to freak my freak right now. Perhaps this soundtrack sounded somehow familiar when you've heard it in the beginning of the video. And perhaps you realized that the soundtrack is not about cats. In the past, I have made the paper collection for the paper premiere, and then I have written the lyrics for the song. And you've already heard a few songs on this channel which were the soundtrack for the paper premiere. And since I knew Daniel, we also have the biggest luck we could have in the world, that we have a human being singing those songs. And that was different in the past. That the soundtrack, I Want to Freak My Freak, sounds familiar to you is because I already had an older version of that song in my videos. Not for a paper premiere, but for my regular videos. And that is because I've written the lyrics for that song, and then I have used Zuno, which is an AI, to make the music for my own lyrics. Yeah? If you don't know how that works, there's a little like AI machine. You can take your own lyrics, throw that into that AI, and then it gives you the melody, and you can choose from different versions, and then you can choose what you like the best, and you have the music itself and the singing and that stuff made by a machine. When I did that in the past, I did that because I wanted to have something special for you and also for myself. I wanted to try to express what I have in my journals additionally with something else than paper and mediums and colors and that stuff. And I thought music is always a good thing to bring a topic, to bring emotions to you. And I was aware that an AI could never bring the emotions to you that then like a human being could do that. But I didn't have another possibility back in the days when I made my first songs, because when I did that, I didn't knew Daniel yet. And to be honest, I would have never even dreamed about the possibility to have a human being singing my songs. And that is why you already know the song I Wanna Freak My Freak from the AI version. You have seen that, you have heard that in some of my reels on Instagram, and also I have used it in some of my videos when I had a little speed up portion of the video. And then, I wanted to have some music, and also to give you some behind the scenes information. Using my own songs was in the past always the easier and better way for me to do because of copyright. Sometimes you upload something and you use music the platform gives you, and then you come into very big trouble. Perhaps you have heard about the Instagram problems, that some people have chosen music from the Instagram library, and then there have been some problems with copyright. I don't want to go into too much detail about that because that's not my main point here. But what I'm trying to say is I wanted to have something special, and that's why I used AI. And I never made that a secret or so. When you have asked me who has sung that song, I always said that was made by Suno. It's my own lyrics, and I have used Suno to make the music. And I find it really, really crazy, in a really bad way crazy, that there are people out there who make music with AI, and they don't write, this is made with AI. But they pretend that they have sung that by themselves. There are so many accounts on Instagram and especially on TikTok where you listen to music, and then when you read the comments, you read something like, oh, that is so beautiful, oh, those emotions, blah, 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 blah. And those people who write those comments obviously don't realize that that is not a human being who is singing those songs. Sometimes there are videos where the people have 6 fingers on each hand, and there are comments like, oh, you look so handsome and you are such a beautiful guy, blah, blah, blah. And they don't realize that the music was made by AI. Is it a bad thing to make music with AI? I don't think so, because I just said I did that as well, and I don't think that it is a bad thing as long as you say it's made with AI. Yeah, but when you upload something and you pretend that you have done that with your own voice, I think that's not fair for those people who try to make real music. Yeah, and that is nothing bad about AI. AI helps me so much. These cats wouldn't be here without AI. And that helps me so much to create my paper collections and also other things. English is not my mother tongue. How much have I learned from ChatGPT with the English language? Also when I have to write texts or so, and I want that there are no mistakes. How much has ChatGPT helped me to do that? And I find that is a really, really, really massive thing which we should appreciate, but we also should handle it in a careful way. And especially when it comes to music and other art things, we should be honest with that. And we should say that was made by AI and this song was made with Suno, for example, like I did the songs in the past. And I want you to be a little bit aware about that. And also, if you are a content creator, please take a look at the things, a little closer look at the things, and listen. You can, in the most cases, you can clearly hear that it was made with AI. If you listen to the old version of I Wanna Freak My Freak, or also the Tattered Bunny Collage Book song, for example, was made with Suno. It's my own lyrics, but you can clearly hear that that voice is not a voice from a human being. And I would love if you would support this thing that we just say, this and this and that was made with AI, because I think there's no problem with just saying it. And it's only fair for those people who are musicians, who sing, for example, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or wherever, and who try to make their living with their music and with their singing. And, you know, let's support those and not those who lie about the things that something was sung by themselves, even if it was made with AI. And then, after I made the music with AI, there came this day where I met Daniel. I found him on TikTok in October 2024. And, you know, then I visited his live streams and so on. We messaged each other then and talked about things. And then suddenly there came this idea to my mind where I thought, wait, would it perhaps be possible that he sings those songs I originally had written and then made with Suno? Would it be possible that a real human being, a real human voice could sing those songs? I then had some sleepless nights, and then I tried to, you know, get my body together, and then I asked him if he wanted to do that. And for the Raggedy Turtle Bloom paper collection, that was the first time I asked him. He said yes. I'm still so happy because that song is just magic. He did that for us, and also the Poppyfield Avenue song. And he also did the song I'm a Stampers Anonymous. You have probably heard that. When did you hear that? Today for you is Sunday. So you've heard that song, if everything goes right, yesterday on my Instagram. And also, that is the new version, yeah, made by him, which originally was the AI version. And I want you to hear the difference. Yeah, please, if you want to go back to my older videos, listen to the old version and then listen to Daniel's version, and then please hear the difference and just appreciate this magic he has put into those songs. If you know me already, you know that I'm really addicted to his voice. I am a really, yeah, how can I say that? I'm definitely not a fan. I hate that word. And not only that I hate that word, I am not a fan, because it's just this connection I have to him and to what he's doing. He makes me often very emotional, and he has this ability that I can really feel my emotions when he sings. And I'm not only talking about the songs he did for us, but also for, that is also, well, mainly for the things he's doing on his live streams. He has this ability to bring really those emotions to me, which I obviously need to feel, and things I obviously need to let out. And that for me is something really special, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but if you don't know him yet, if you like music, and if you really want to feel the things which can be in songs, then go to his social media profiles, listen to him on Spotify and wherever he is. He's on YouTube, on Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. The links are all down below in the description box of the video. Please check him out. And if you like him, then please give him a follow, okay? And I also really enjoy that we can also meet in his live streams. I see a lot of you there, and I really enjoy that, because that is something where I can spend my free time together with you, and that doesn't have anything to do with my job. And for me, that is really, I mean, that is a little bit egoistic when I say that, but for me, that is really a big portion of my life where I can say, okay, I can sit down there, I can cry everything out if I want, I can laugh about the jokes he makes, and he's really funny. Sometimes I think he is funny, even if he, you know, doesn't realize it in that moment. But it is what it is. It's just what it is. And now I lost what I wanted to say. Yeah, I really enjoy that also we can meet there, and that, yeah, that we can come in contact there, and also sometimes talk about other things than crafting. Yeah, that is also important, that we sometimes talk about other things than only paper, you know. So when I asked him if he could make the I Wanna Freak My Freak song, I wasn't thinking that that song would then become connected to this paper collection. There is a cat in that song. There's glitter involved in that song. And also those I Wanna Freak My Freak moments I had while I was working on this. And because of that, there came this thought to my mind that this song is perfect for this paper collection, even if I didn't write it for this paper collection. Yeah, so that is a difference to the other paper collections where a song and a soundtrack was included. That was something I just wanted to clarify, because you could get confused, and if you're not one of those extremely extreme viewers of my channel, then you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. So that could be helpful information for you. So I think that's it, isn't it? So if you want to join the fun, the whole fun, and make your own version of Messy Catmas, you can get the Backstage Pass on the HEINZL TV Termini. The link is down below in the description box. If you just want to have the paper collection, you can find it in my shop. The link is also down below in the description box. And if you like to explore the free bonus videos, you will find them here on my YouTube channel in the coming weeks. I will upload them one by one. And those focus then on what happens inside this journal. This question, when I have such a journal, what can I then do in the journal when the journal is finished? A very massive question, I would say, and I want to try to answer that with some examples, which will then be the bonus videos here on the channel, in the public area of my channel. And speaking of done, when a journal is done, what do you think about that? Can a junk journal ever really be finished? Probably not. And I think that's the best part, isn't it? So if there are any questions left, please feel free to write a comment or write me an email or a message somewhere else and just ask, okay? I'm here to help, and I'm here to answer your questions. Thank you very, very much for watching and for your time, for all of your support, for being here with me, and especially for being part of the incredible HEINZL crew. So now, grab your papers, get messy, and let's cringe it. See you the next time. Bye. Those fucking bells. I am one sniff of cinnamon away from a meltdown. Cozy vibes. Jingle bells, jingle bells. Help. Gingerbread. I hate cinnamon and I hate crafting. Ach, scheiße nochmal. I hate journals. I sprinkle chaos. Wer räumt das jetzt wieder auf? I'm wondering, Tim, are you there? Will this dry on my face? Will I stay black for the rest of my life? They should have given me a little note on the package about that. Just in case. I mean, you can never know why you need that. I'm not here to elf. I'm here to Grinch. Why are those scissors laying on the table and making noises while I'm trying to record this? Ah! Go away. Cute? Cute? We are here to making... Cute? Scheiße, das war so cute. Help. Cute? Cute? Was muss ich sagen? Nein, nein, nein. We are... Scheiße nochmal. Du hast jetzt nur eine Chance. Eine einzige Chance. And... Just one chance. And we are distressing everything. Let's Grinch it. Where's my vacuum cleaner? And if I am able to remove this stuff from my face and everywhere, then... Oh no! Oh no! Tim, why is this permanent on skin? If I'm able to remove this, the next adventure on HEINZL TV will be released this Sunday. Stay tuned also for the rest of my content, because everything is content.
Paper, glue, and scissors at hand, but nothing ever goes as planned. I spilled coffee on my vintage lace, oxide spray got into my face, cat knocked over my washi tower. I've been crafting for 12 straight hours. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk gentleman is holy cow. Tearing paper, making a mess, creative chaos, I confess. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk gentleman is holy cow. Inky fingers, venomous dance, pages filled with happenstance. Guess I want my favorite jeans, embrace the imperfection by any means. and you don't throw a fit. Is this just the ugly stage or am I happy with it? I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journalist, holy cow. Tearing paper, making a mess, creative chaos, I confess. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journalist, holy cow. Inky fingers, ephemerous dance, pages filled with happenstance. Dear diary, today I accidentally glued my journal shut, mistook my copy for plain water, sneezed while using glitter. Now I'm a disco ball and realized I've been spelling different, remember wrong for years. Stamps and stencils everywhere, glitter in my underwear. Accidentally used to feel as a page, now I'm cryptic in the rage. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journalist, holy cow. Tearing paper, making a mess, creative chaos, I confess. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journalist, holy cow. Inky fingers, ephemerous dance, pages filled with happenstance. We wanna freak our freaks right now. Junk journalist, take a bow. Tearing paper, making a mess, creative chaos, we profess. We wanna freak our freaks right now. Junk journalist, holy cow. Inky fingers, ephemerous dance, pages filled with happenstance. All right. I regret nothing, except maybe the glitter.